All right, let's get into it. Today, we're spilling all the tea on a crypto project that's been flying super low-key, but no cap. The claims they're making are actually wild. You're going to want to stick around for this one. So, check this out. What if I told you there's this crypto project, right? And it's supposedly backed by Google. They're talking about listing on the New York Stock Exchange, and they just dropped a Visa card. But somehow, nobody's talking about it. Is this legit, or is it just some next-level hype? We're about to find out. Okay, so first things first. WTF even is InterLink? So at its core, it's all about tackling one of crypto's biggest headaches, bots. They're trying to build this thing called a human network. The whole idea is you use your face to verify you're a real person behind a wallet. One human, one account. Simple. It's their big swing at taking down the bot farms for good. And this is where it gets kind of crazy. We're not just talking about some idea on a PDF. They've got over 5 million verified users. That's 5 million real faces scanned and on the network. They racked up 3 million of those in just 6 months. I mean, that growth is insane. This thing is already moving. All right, you're going to want to lean in for this part. It gets a little confusing, but trust me, this is where the real alpha is. IYKYK. See, InterLink isn't just one token, they're running a 2-token system, and figuring out how they work together is literally the whole play. So on one hand, you've got ITLG. Just think of this as the community coin, right? The people's token. It's got a huge supply, and it's the one you actually earn for free just by mining with your face. Then on the other hand, you have ITL. This is the serious one, the institutional token. Way smaller supply, and it's built for the big dogs. Partners, exchanges, that whole Wall Street vibe. Okay, let's break down the numbers, because this is crucial. ITLG has a supply of 100 billion. ITL, only 10 billion. That's a 10-to-1 difference, which is massive for how people see the price. But sir, here's the real kicker. 50%, half of the entire ITL supply is set aside for people who hold the ITLG token. So by mining the free community token, you're basically getting a piece of the institutional one. See? That's the link. Now, for anyone out there actually mining this, listen up. Let them cook. The biggest noob mistake is thinking a huge mining group is the goal. It's not. It's all about activity. Your rewards, what they call your human credit score, it's tied directly to how active your little crew is. A super active 5-person squad will absolutely smoke a lazy 50-person group. So the play is simple. Audit your group. If it's a ghost town, leave. Go find some active miners. That's the edge, for real. Okay, so they're talking a big game, a really big game. But you know how it is. Talk is cheap. So it's time to actually check the receipts. Let's see what's fact, what's just marketing, and if there are any red flags we need to worry about. First up, the big one, Google. If you look at public records on sites like Crunchbase, it lists Google for Startups as a lead investor. Now, hold on, does this mean they're sending it to the moon? No, of course not. But you got to ask yourself why a company like Google would even be interested. Maybe for Web3 identity, fighting ad fraud, I don't know. But in a world of sketchy, anonymous VCs, a signal from Google is, well, it's a pretty strong signal that someone credible is paying attention. They also love to talk about their NIST benchmark. And if you don't know, NIST is basically the Olympics for facial recognition tech. It's the gold standard. InterLink claims their model ranked super high for accuracy and fairness. And look, that's a legit quality signal for the tech. But again, it's not a guarantee of success. It just means the engine is good. But a good engine doesn't mean the car's going to win the race, you know? Execution is everything. Which brings us to this next quote. Ambition is free, execution is expensive. And that perfectly sums up their goal of listing on the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, that is a ridiculously bold claim for a crypto project. We're not going to knock the ambition, but we need to see proof. Show us the paperwork, the filings, the real moves. Until then, it's just a cool idea. And we have to think about what happens if they don't actually pull it off. But this right here might be their strongest receipt yet. They just announced a partnership with a company called HPX to launch an InterLink Visa card. The plan is to get 3 million of these cards out in 2026. This is huge, actually huge, because it creates real-world utility. You could potentially just spend the tokens you mined anywhere Visa is accepted. This takes it from just being a weird crypto thing to a legit payment network. And that leads to the question everyone really cares about. All right, let's run the numbers. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. Now, let me be super clear. NFA. Not financial advice, okay? This is just us messing around with some speculative math based on their tokenomics. But yeah, this is probably the part you're going to screenshot. Okay, Let's start with ITLG, the community token. So if we guess there's about 5 billion tokens floating around at launch, the price really just comes down to market cap. So in a bull case, let's say a $500 million market cap, you're looking at about 10 cents a token. A more reasonable base case, maybe 150 million, that's 3 cents. And if things go south in a bear scenario, a 25 million cap would put it at half a cent. Now, let's look at ITL, the institutional token. This is where it gets interesting because the circulating supply is so much smaller, like around 250 million. So the numbers look totally different. At that same $500 million bull market cap, you're suddenly looking at a potential price of $2 per token. The base case would be 50 cents and the bear case 10 cents. That 10x smaller supply just completely changes the math. So what does that actually mean for you, the miner? Okay, let's say you've stacked up a bag of 50,000 ITLG. In that bull scenario, your bag could be worth $5 grand, the base case, $1,500, and the bear case, $250. And don't forget, that's not even counting the ITL tokens you'd be earning on the side just for holding the ITLG. That's like a whole bonus layer of value on top. So, the question on everyone's mind? When listing? The hype is definitely real, but we gotta bring it back down to earth for a sec. Time to touch some grass and look at what we actually know for sure. The community chat is buzzing about a February 2026 listing. But if you actually read the white paper, it says the date is subject to a DAO vote. So, not set in stone. Most analysts are looking at a more realistic timeline, probably Q2 or Q3 of 2026. So here's the key takeaway. Stop watching the rumors and start watching for official milestones. When you see a mainnet launch announcement or confirmed exchange partnerships, that's when you should pay attention. So there you have it, the DGen deep dive on InterLink. You've got some seriously ambitious tech, a huge user base, a nod from Google, and a Visa card on the way. But that's all balanced against some major execution risk and a TBD listing date. The outcomes here could be wildly different. So gotta ask you, what's the play? Are you bull, base, or bear on this? Drop it in the comments. I want to know what you guys think.